Oh, yeah. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, once again to Cast Iron Wednesday. And this, of course, is a long running tradition now, at least several years, that a number of YouTube channels have been doing on Wednesday nights. We do a cast iron video, of course, where we have fun cooking in cast iron, cleaning cast iron, talking about cast iron, arguing about cast iron, and basically showing off our cast iron because why not? It's a lot of fun to do so. And hey, this is our channel. And well, if you weren't interested, you wouldn't be watching. And yes, here I am as well with my cast iron collection. And thank you very much to everybody who's showing up here. As I am, I'm. Don't worry, I'm not crippled or anything like that. I am just recovering from a knee procedure that they did earlier today. They drained a fair amount of fluid from my knee. I've a problem I've been having for about the past month or so, but when they drained it, they said it looked pretty good in that they drained about 85 cc's of clear fluid from my knee, meaning that there was no sign of any blood, no sign of any infection, no sign of anything serious. So, with any luck, this should heal up. And anyway, this isn't as bad as that time about 3 years ago when I fractured my wrist. And that's when I did the live here with a cast on my shoulder for on my arm for at least the next 2 months or so. This isn't going to be so bad. And besides, I can get up and I can walk around, so that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, thank you once again to everybody who has been kind enough to show up here once again. Whoops, oh, great. For starters, I accidentally clicked the mouse and I don't want to shut this whole thing down. So let's cancel that. Yeah, yeah. So it goes. Anyway, as I said, thank you very much to everybody who's been kind enough to drop by this evening. So thank you to the folks whose names we see here every week, and to the ones who've been kind enough to show up for the first time. Hello to 4M Morris family, and hello to Pat Z and Clico and Cynthia Wesley, Celine 77 Star 99, Debbie, Jimmy Langford, William Hurt, and all of the regulars here on this channel. Thank you very much for being interested enough to show up here on a regular basis. So yes, and hello Cast Iron Fanatic and RT Scott. R. Hughes, and hello, Cargo Bike Living. Yes, you're back. Congratulations, and thank you very much. At least I haven't bored you to death, so thank you. Especially since we're basically having a Q&A session. Don't make what is not so bad. Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I do have to be careful with my leg, yes, and I'm going to really take my time. So that means, though, as I said, we're just doing the first Wednesday of the month, which is our typical Q&A session here. Basically, anybody at all, I encourage everybody to throw out questions, and well, we will all do our best to answer them. I mean, I know the topic has come up a couple of times already. Knee inflammation. Yeah, exactly. So, no, don't worry, Clico. I'm positive that I am not going to go down that rabbit hole. But did you order out tonight for supper? Well, earlier today, I actually did just something nice and easy. I took a large 10-inch skillet, heated it up with some butter, and I threw in a pre-cooked kielbasa from the store. So there you go. Nice, whole bunch of store-bought non-vegan meat. So yeah, and it was quite good too. But anyway, next time, have you checked for form meniscus? I don't even know what that is, to be absolutely honest. But I mean, over the past month or so, I've had an ultrasound, two X-rays, an MRI, and again, they drained the fluid today. And so far, the worst thing they've determined is that I seem to be developing arthritis, namely that there is some deterioration of the cartilage around my knee. So they also, in addition to draining the fluid, they also injected some gel into my knee, and that's going to take a little while to settle. So, with any luck, I should be walking regularly, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. But enough about that, because again, we're here for the cast iron. So I really don't like airing all of my drama on the internet. Although, thank you, on the other hand, thank you very much for being concerned and for taking an interest. Okay, Having said that, yeah, had to drain his knee once in a while. Yes. Having said that, somebody had brought up the topic of Yankee and Scotch bowls. Yes, Robert Caver. In that, as a matter of fact, I actually took the time to go to the Wagner and Griswold Society. If there's anybody who might be considered cast iron experts, it would probably be them. And the best I can tell is that there is no official definition of a Yankee Bowl and a Scotch Bowl. And rather, this is just one of those unofficial things that they ended up being named. Supposedly, the Scotch Bowl is named especially because it was low and shallow and supposedly frugal as was tended by the Scotch. Although there is actually a popular, or was a popular dish called Scotch broth, which was a type of stew, especially made in dishes shaped like that. And I personally think Scotch broth probably had a reason was probably a reason why they made those particular shaped cast iron bowls and called them Scotch bowls. Scotch broth, if anybody has made it, I have made it a couple of times. It is a combination. It is a type of stew, of course, where they usually use lamb because this comes from old Scotland, that is, and they throw in a lot as well of barley. And that stuff is easy to burn. So they put it in specifically a round bowl, especially so that it can't get caught up in the corners like in a typical Dutch oven or any other kind of pot. And so it makes it much less likely to burn. And that is Scotch broth. And it is very tasty. Also, those Scotch bowls, they do also make excellent small cast iron woks. On the other hand, the Yankee bowl is usually larger and somewhat more, well, I guess more shallow. Not shallow, what's the word? Deep, actually, usually bigger. And let me see, as they said in the Wagner and Griswold Society, the Yankee bowls, because only Yankees bid on them. Us rednecks only bid on practical items like a skillet. We use it for all our cooking needs. Maybe one day we'll make a step up and start using those more complicated things. Here's another one. Yankee bowls are made by Yankees and Scotch bowls are made by cheap Yankees. I had asked the same question a while back and no one knew. I suspect it was just a name someone came up with to call the bowls other than just bowl. And I don't see why not. So that may very well be about as good an answer as we can get. Scotch is a drink. I assume you mean Scots? No, well, no, actually, it is called Scotch broth. I know, as they like to say, Google it. Look it up yourself, and you will see Scotch broth, several recipes for them. It is one of those older, I shouldn't say medieval, but like older, jolly old England and especially Scotland type of recipes, the kind that they made, for hundreds of years. And so, of course, that means there are hundreds of different variations on it. So, but anyway, that's a general idea there about about Scotch bowls and Yankee bowls. A couple of times over the last 13 years of collecting, a couple of times I did indeed come across a Scotch bowl. I know one of them I gave away as a birthday present. Another one, I think I ended up selling, in fact. I think one of the few times I tried to clean out or reduce my collection and sell it at a flea market. So, because I found I did not have much use for a Scotch bowl. Why? Because I've got the large cast iron wok, because I have several Dutch ovens, and because I have my huge cast iron cauldron. So, me personally, I've not had much use for a Scotch bowl. But again, that's just me. Well, okay, actually, let me dig one thing out. Um, no, I don't think this is a Scotch bowl, but I have shown this one once or twice. And this is a gate marked Dutch oven. And in fact, this particular one here used to be enameled. It says size number 3, and it's a pretty typical Dutch oven, or maybe a stovetop kettle. from the from the 1800s or so. But this one was enameled, and of course, the enamel was really, really, in poor condition. It was chipped, it was cracked. You could do absolutely nothing as far as cooking with it. And what's more, 19th century enameled Dutch ovens are known to have lead in the glaze. So never, ever, ever cook with those things. So what did I do? I had it sandblasted to completely remove the enamel glaze, and instead I use it as a change pot. So I keep it in my living room, and anytime I get change, I throw it into this thing. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's just one. And besides, I only paid $5 for that at a flea market anyway. I didn't consider it to be any kind of a loss. And Klondike 5960 AG says says lol. That's funny. My change bucket is a Yankee bowl. Yes, exactly. Pot of gold. And especially since we are getting around to St. Patrick's Day, well, there is that consideration as well. So yeah, we've got a Hulk. I have an army. Hmm. Love that movie. Yes. Scots pay what it's worth and Yankees overpay. Celine 77, I think that describes me to a T. I have proudly declared my Yankee heritage several times, even to the point where I like making cornbread with sugar. That's always fun, the times I've gone down to the National Cornbread Festival and basically declared that. And yet somehow I've managed to survive. Okay, so yeah, weed bowl. Okay, I'm going to get through that. Looks like that pot is going through changes. Yes, exactly. But as I said, we are here again to discuss and really bring up pretty much any topic you want. Campbell's soup always had Scotch broth. Maybe it's discontinued now. So yes, and good evening to you too, Terry Sinchef. Irish stew comes to mind this time of the year. Yeah, that's also true. One of my favorite cooking channels, Tasting History, did this wonderful history video on Irish stew a couple of years ago, and I think it was one of his best videos because he did this really, I guess you could say, sad and emotional history of the Irish famine as he was doing his Irish stew, and I would highly recommend looking at that. Buzzfork 8, do you have any Renfro-ware stuff? I'm afraid I do not. I have seen some Renfro occasionally in the hunt, but it's always been astronomically priced, and I have not yet been lucky enough to score a Renfro at a decent price. This, at least not the ones that actually had the logo on them. If I remember right, Renfro was one of those ones that made those beehive lids. So if I ever come across a beehive lid at a decent price, I would certainly be tempted to get it, really, just for that reason. So, maple syrup with cornbread sounds good. Oh, yeah, that's true. And it's been a while since I've made one of my favorite Yankee cornbread recipes, New England spider cake. That one is a cornbread that is so sweet, they actually call it a cake because the way you make it, you end up with a layer of custard in the center. I did a video on it. It's been several years now, but the recipe is on my website. And yeah, if you want something that is definitely sweet, it really is a cake, give it a try. New England spider cake. Why? Because it's delicious. And I frankly don't care if about the arguments about cornbread having sugar or not, or chili having beans or not, because I like them both ways. I like Southern cornbread without sugar, and I grew up with cornbread with sugar. Okay, having problems seasoning cornbread's pan, Gunter 45. Too many odd angles, thinking of using a paintbrush to spread oil evenly. Yeah, that's not a bad plan. Or use Crisco for that matter. I like using Crisco for seasoning my cast iron too. But yeah, just the best I could say is to use the method that we like to use, and that is to preheat the pan to about 200 degrees. That's that cornstick pan. Preheat it to about 200 degrees. Then you spread in, and yeah, use a basting brush or a paintbrush or something. Spread your Crisco in, and it will melt into all of those little grooves or the like. Cover the entire thing, rub it off, yes, including those grooves, And then you go to the next step, heat it up to 300, wipe it off again, heat it to 400, and then keep it at 400 anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. Hey, never heard of it myself. Yeah, it was made in LA. You mentioned the famine of the Irish. I don't suppose they teach it in schools anymore. It was very sad. Well, I don't know what they're teaching and what they're not teaching in schools anymore. I graduated high school back in 1985, but yeah, I went to a public school and my education was lacking. I never learned about an American tragedy, the Tulsa Massacre in 1920. I never learned about it until only a couple of years ago when I watched HBO's Watchmen series, which was excellent, by the way. Okay. Nonetheless, they don't teach too much history in schools these days. Yeah, that's certainly true. Okay, yeah, Crisco rules, or just bake your cornbread in a regular iron skillet. Oh, you can do that too. I mean, I've mentioned quite a few times that my favorite cornbread skillet is, in fact, just a skillet. And I have shown this one quite a few times and don't mind showing it off again. Lucky number seven, another gate mark skillet. And I've told the story of old Lucky number seven a number of times, that he is a generic, as they call it, like a generic gate mark skillet, with a very easy to spot handle design, the kind that was made by a bunch of small manufacturers. Nobody knows who actually made them for that reason. He's gate marked. He came as part of a complimentary cookware set that they gave away as part of when they sold wood burning stoves in those days. This one happened to survive on its own to today. And when I found this one, it was actually seriously cracked. But at that time, I actually found a really good welder who did an excellent job of welding this pan here. You can see the weld, but it is very smooth. And that's why I call this guy Lucky number seven, not just because he is a number seven, but because this pan definitely was lucky. And this is my go-to cornbread pan. Okay, I heat maple syrup and whisk in a big pat of butter and pour it on cornbread. Well, that sounds pretty good too. Gate mark skillets are getting hard to find in my hunting area. Yeah, I know. That's because, well, we've already said this too about this cast iron renaissance. That's they are becoming more and more popular, and so yeah, you better believe the vendors and the speculators, they are really starting to scoop these things up like vultures. And well, as we know already, that means you just have to be patient, because even today, you never know when you're going to find a decent score. Usually at a flea market or a yard sale these days. Antique malls, not as often as they used to be, I suppose. Unless you find that once in a lifetime pan that you really, really feel you gotta have, and it may then actually be worth paying the price for it. Hard to say. Just before Christmas, I mean, I did come across a Wagner number five that I was looking for, and I got that at an antique mall for $10. So bargains are still out there. You just have to be lucky and you have to be patient. Cast iron fanatic. I thought Crescent Foundry was the only foundry that made the beehive lids too. I didn't know the other foundries made the beehive lids. I'm told, and here I am not as much of an expert as, say, the Mudbrooker. So take my advice with a grain of salt. My understanding is Renfro, maybe Favorite, and there was a third one too, and I don't remember which one that was. Uh, oh yeah, Crescent, right? Crescent, as you said, but I might be wrong. So yes, I mean, as I said, please consider that. Okay, O'Brien and O'Brien had a beehive lid, if I'm not mistaken. Not mistaken, often am. Yeah. Well, best I could say is do your research. Yeah, we found our Yankee Bowl on Facebook Marketplace. Gal had no idea what it was. Well, that's when you usually get the best bargains, because yeah, I know there's the ethics thing, is you should tell them that it's so valuable. You know that's not how the hunt goes. So, well, no, correction. If you if you feel there's a good reason to be specially honest, maybe, like maybe it's a friend of yours, or you've got some kind of a situation where she's honestly selling it for charity or something like that, maybe you might want to consider it then. But otherwise, who knows? There is any number of reasons, and you can take it on a case by case basis. And I'm not going to judge. I'm not an ethical judge, and I am in no position to be one. Yeah, it's exactly how I got mine. Yeah. Chicago Hardware Foundry. They did beehive lids. I did not know that. There's a pan on Facebook Marketplace here that's labeled as Dixie Foundry. Yeah, exactly. Is that a Grateful Dead shirt? And if so, what's your favorite song? No, this is just a generic tie-dye t-shirt that I got again at a flea market. That just happens to have. Oh, damn it! I just twisted my knee the wrong way. Okay, um, that just happens to have, psychedelic, good old fashioned tie dye letters, tie dye colors. And frankly, as far as the Grateful Dead is concerned, my brother was a deadhead. And so we had rooms next to each other, and I ended up listening to a fair amount of the Grateful Dead for several years back in the early 90s. I could not get into them. It's just me. I could not get into the Dead. I'm sorry. I mean, my brother played the Dead religiously. He also played a lot of the Doors, which I liked. He introduced our entire family to Pink Floyd, and he got me interested in Nine Inch Nails and Jane's Addiction. Go figure. But I could not get into the Dead. I'm sorry. And yes, I've seen the Grateful Dead Lodge cast iron skillet, which, as best as anybody knows, at some point, one hardcore Dead vintage merchandise dealer actually did pay Lodge the price. What was it, like 5,000? No, $60,000, I think, for a run of those. Cast iron skillets. I probably have the number completely wrong, but those Grateful Dead skillets out there, they were in fact a commission. And Lodge made them. I'm presuming they all sold out because, of course, the rare time you see a Grateful Dead skillet, you better believe that thing is commanding an incredible price. I won't say ridiculous because this is definitely what you call a collector's item. Okay, buffering, Cynthia Wesley, my condolences. It's the community more than the music. Well, yeah, no, that's certainly true. I mean, you go to Grateful Dead. Well, okay, here's a joke. What did the Deadhead say when he ran out of pot? Wait a minute, this music sucks. So yeah, you definitely go to Dead shows, really, as you said, for the, just that, to mingle and to have fun and get some of that free love and all that. So if you were trapped on a remote, Greg Hart, if you were actually, one moment, Eddie Lyles dug out my great grandmother's number two cast iron pot that's over 100 years old this week. Congratulations! Has a little surface rust inside. Any suggestions on seasoning such a big piece? Well, elbow grease. Um, Makes me think of when I season my huge 15-gallon cauldron. Admittedly, I made a big investment, but in that I went out and got one of those huge green industrial waste containers. Those huge green plastic trash barrels that are bigger than your typical everyday trash barrel, and it doesn't have a lid. And it was big enough to fit into, to fit my cauldron into it. And so I filled it with like about 20 to 30 gallons of lye, soaked it there for at least a month or so. Then after that, well, I did it the hard way. Started scrubbing using barkeeper's friend on the outside, and then on the inside though, oh yeah, actually, here's a tip: what to do. Reverse electrolysis. Here's another thing you can look up, that term, reverse electrolysis. And this is cool too, because this is one of those things where you could say, I will do science to it. Now, in the cast iron community, many of us know about electrolysis. Of course, you build yourself an e-tank, and you get your positive connects to the piece. No, your negative, the black, connects to the piece. The red positive, I forget, but the red is what connects to your sacrificial piece. I mean, I'm not going to go into a long, detailed description of electrolysis, but again, I can say Google it. However, for a few times, especially with deep cast iron uh, uh, pots, they have the collectors or the restorers have termed it reverse electrolysis. It's not some kind of an official name, but that's what they call it. And here is what you do is, let's dig out this tiny little lodge cauldron as an example. Here is where you use the cast iron pot itself as the E-tank. You don't put it in the E-tank. You fill the cauldron itself with your electrolysis solution, water and washing soda. And then from there, you take your black connection and connect it right to the side of the pot. Then you take your sacrificial piece and hang it down in the center so that it does not contact the pot. And it will completely clean out with electrolysis. It will completely clean out the inside of the pot. I did that with my cauldron and it worked great. The only disadvantage to that is you still have to manually clean off the outside. You know, scrub it down with barkeeper's friend and vinegar and all that. And then, of course, there's the question of seasoning. But anyway, that's a very brief description of reverse electrolysis. Yeah, my electrolysis in my boyfriend's angle grinder. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, Louis is always posting these tasty looking shorts, making me hungry. Yeah, I know. I've really got to do that. I've really got to just start doing that too, posting more shorts where all I'm really doing is like taking a 10-second look at the final finished product. I mean, I made lunch today just by frying some kielbasa in a skillet, and I should have made a short 10-second video of that. So yeah, Randy Maple got busy when I bought my 17-inch large cast iron, and it had beautiful, nice, thick cast iron lid with it. Wow, I didn't know they had a 17-inch lid for the lodge, unless maybe the lid might be from another manufacturer. But I honestly did not know Lodge made a 17-inch lid. I thought their largest lid was the 15-inch lid that they put on their number 14 skillet. All right. Papa Dan, hello. I remember when the Doors hit the scene. I'm old. I can't see the comments, but be listening. Is the Lodge number 10 chicken fryer the biggest of the vintage chicken fryers? Lodge number 10 is like a Dutch oven with a handle. There have been a few rare sightings on the BSNR collectors group of a Red Mountain number 10 chicken fryer. And people always argue over that, whether or not it's a real Red Mountain or BSNR chicken fryer. But nonetheless, it is there, and it does actually exist. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a Lodge number 10 chicken fryer, actually. I mean, I've seen a Lodge number 8 chicken fryer, and I've got a Wagner number 9 chicken fryer. Are you sure you might not mean a Lodge number 10 Spider, which Lodge did make during the early 20th century? I feel like we don't talk about stovetop seasoning enough. I'm just doing one skillet. That's the way to go. Okay, then Electra Buzz. Fair enough. I mean, any topic is allowed here. Stovetop seasoning. I've done it a few times. It's not as convenient as oven seasoning, I think. With oven seasoning, you can just put it in and set it and forget it and make sure it doesn't set off the smoke detector. Stovetop seasoning is essentially the same thing. You know, you just simply heat up your pan on your stovetop until it's hot enough to be over the smoke point of your oil, and then you just basically monitor it on the stovetop. Remember, you've got an open flame on the stovetop, so you got to be careful and just leave it like that until it is ready. Sometimes, no, I would not like the idea of putting a skillet upside down over your gas burner on the stovetop. I might consider that to be dangerous, but that's just me. Louis J, did anyone get a first casting of Field Company? They had a sale of very limited stock at the first casting. Oh, I missed that completely, I'm afraid. I'm sure. Oh, when you're saying a sale, do you mean they actually sold them at a lower price? But if so, congratulations to anybody who did it. I mean, if you picked one up, not that you do things like that, I suppose you could use it as a giveaway in one of your contests because I don't doubt people would enjoy it. Louis, no, don't send it to me. And I'm being serious. I won't get into that again, but please, no more cast iron. Okay. All right. Okay, I do get burned more often that way. Well, there is that too, Electra Buzz. Cynthia Wesley, I'm poor and broke. Broke and poor Lewis, and I'm waiting to enjoy watching yours. Bingster223, I have a 3-notch number 10 chicken fryer or a deep skillet with lid. Ooh, nice. I wouldn't mind seeing pictures of it because, yeah, no, I did not know that there was a number 10. You're saying it's actually 12 inches across, this chicken fryer? Boy, that is definitely something. No, Rick Stumbow, please do not send me some iron. We went through this already. And I'm being completely serious. It's getting to the point that if somebody else sends me some more iron, I may very well just simply return to sender. Um, because I really, oh, I don't know. Or maybe have a giveaway or something. Okay, have you ever seasoned cast iron on a barbecue? Not yet, I'm afraid. I've got a Weber kettle grill that I got last year. It didn't even open. It's still sitting in my basement. Although my friend has already demanded that I take it out and we use it this summer. Especially since I'm hanging out with her friend and their kids, I think there's going to be an excuse to do some real grilling this summer. And yeah, I'm definitely going to look forward to it too. You have a number 10 BSNR Spider. Why not show it as an example? I actually have a number 12 BSNR Spider. But okay, then let me dig this out as best as I can. Got to move a couple of things out of the way, namely these wonderful Fredericksburg cast iron ramekins. I got to move those out of the way because I have them sitting in front of the Spider. The Spider just happens to be out of the picture right now. But let's start with uh, let's start with the lid. Here is the lid of the 12-inch number 12 BSNR Spider. Notice that it has a tab handle, which means it's definitely 1960s or 1970s or later. That was when BSNR started putting tab handles on their camp ovens. They did this as a cost-cutting measure because they did not produce anywhere near as many of their camp ovens as they did their skillets, and that's why you don't see the tablets on their skillets. I understand there were tablets on their FBPs, their Franklin bean pots or flat bottom pots as well. But anyway, here is the lid of the number 12 or 12-inch BSNR camp oven. Okay, which looks exactly like the modern day Asian-made Dutch ovens that they find at Harbor Freight Tools, except that this does have a 12-inch mark on it. The Asian-made ones do not; they are completely blank on the top and the bottom. Anyway, that's the that's the lid. Now for the fun part. Yeah, here it is. Here is the Spider, the three-legged camp spider. BSNR didn't even call it a spider. I think they called it a camp leg skillet. And yeah, this thing is a nice piece of work, and I'm quite glad to own it. We know again that this is a modern day spider. I mean, despite the fact that is this rust on the bottom? Ugh, I have to take care of that. Anyway, you know that antique vendors will always use any spider at all with a label of 18th century, no, 19th century, Civil Wars, cowboy chuck wagon skillet. They always use those words to sell these things. But this thing is definitely from the 1970s or later because of the very tiny number 12 mark here on the bottom. That's how I know that this is absolutely a later skillet, later spider. Also, the fact that it has completely round legs too. I'm told that the earlier Red Mountain camp ovens, they actually did have triangular legs. So this is definitely a modern one. If I ever have the opportunity, I probably wouldn't mind trading this one of these days. but nonetheless, here it is. Okay, and that's the spider. Yeah, you bring the tri-tip. Damn, so do we. Yes. Well, recently got a rights Trump policy. Recently got a few different pieces, including a Northland aluminum products front pan. Nice. That's Nordic wear. And a couple of vintage Lodge Wildlife series. Really, a vintage Lodge Wildlife series. Now that's something. And a Griswold Star Trivet and a miniature number one matching one. Oh, Griswold Star Trivet. Let me see here. Um, Here it is. My understanding is this is the Griswold Star Trivet. However, I have reason to believe this particular one is not a Griswold because it has no name or marking at all on the back. The underside is completely blank. So, no, I'm wrong. It actually has a number on the bottom. Two, I think it says 288. I'm not sure if I can get this right in the light here. It's right where my finger is. There is a number here on the bottom, and it may not even show in this light, but it says something like uh, either 268 or 208 or 288. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is a Griswold Star Trivet. But nonetheless, it sure is a nice looking piece, isn't it? So yeah, I'm quite yeah. And so yeah, this is one of those things where I did manage to score it. I think I paid like $15 for this in an antique mall, so I'm happy about that. All right, uh, Deep Hell Pal. Oh, me and Lewis are on our way. Oh yeah, with a fifth of Jose Cuervo, a tri-tip, and 3 and 6 lamb molds. Yeah, yeah, that would be an interesting time. That's for sure. Tell you what, we'll plan it for later in the summer, okay? Because I'm sure at that point he'll be wanting to get out of Arizona. All right. How much was the tomahawk? Good question. Okay, mine writes Trump policy. Mine looks way different. Well, if yours looks way different, then I am wrong, and this is not a Griswold Star Trivet. Captain Kirk, my wife found a Martin Stove and Range hamburger logo number 7. Nice, but the sidewalls seem to be lower than our others. Well, that's interesting. I would not think that there are counterfeits of the hamburger logo, Pan, because I mean, where's the collector's value of that? I mean, again, if you're going to see counterfeit cast iron skillets, it's going to be something that could sell at a high price. Griswold, for instance. So there was a rumor that one of the Lodge Wildlife deer skillets, there was a rumor one of them was, there was one out there that was actually Chinese made, and they based it on a very, very slight shape of the deer's face or nose or something like that. I do not think that was true because counterfeit cast iron is just about always very crude and very easy to spot. So I do not think that was counterfeit. Hey, that's nice trivia. Wow, I think so as well. So yeah. All right, let me Papa Dan. I can't read these comments. Font is too small. I'm sorry to hear that. Cindy, health preventing her from reading comments to me. Sorry if I miss a post. Well, I'm doing my best to read them, Papa Dan. That's about I could best I could say. Let me go back and make sure I've missed anything. 4M Morris family. More cast iron is more better. Hmm, that sounds about right. Going a little further up, I did get an extra, but I will mostly be giving it away. Well, that's good. Yes, I'm limiting my collection. Well, thank you very much, Louis J. I very much appreciate that. Let me see. Still going up here. Poor and broke. Well, we are all poor and broke. Yes, I put my skillet upside down on my. I put my skillet upside down on my, and now I missed it. Oh well. Okay, let's keep going. I don't want to miss anything here. I mean, we're a good 40 minutes in, so far so good. Hello, Mr. Majors. Well, thank you very much for showing up as well. So I wish we could share pics here. Yeah, unfortunately, well, YouTube doesn't seem to do that. The best I could say is point people to your Instagram or your Facebook or Imager or whatever you have there. Just say, I have a picture of it up on my Instagram, and they should be able to find it. I gave the wrong information. Crescent Hardware Foundry Ozark had the original beehive, not Chicago Hardware Foundry. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so. CHF Chicago Hardware Foundry was most famous, of course, for their very lovely hammered skillets. I am hearing a new rumor once again about this particular pan, the one that I only have a lid for. The new idea pan. For a long time, for years, people thought this was produced in England. And then recently, information came to light that it was produced by Chicago Hardware Foundry. Now I'm starting to hear rumors that it was a different Chicago based foundry that produced the new idea pan. I don't have details, I'm afraid. I saw it briefly on Facebook, should have taken a closer look, and I don't know yet if this is confirmed. There are a lot of rumors going out there, and for a lot of things, if I don't get evidence, I'm not going to say that it's confirmed. For instance, it took years for us before we finally got some smoking gun evidence to demonstrate the famous Mercedes pan or the peace symbol pan, which I do not have one of those. That we now know that particular pan was originally produced as a Teflon coated pan, for instance. But it took years before the evidence was found really to confirm that. Out of my range, I'm sure. I don't think I like nobody enough to pay over $12 for a steak, not even myself. Yeah. If there's one thing that I have stopped doing since I've learned to cook in cast iron, it's going to a steakhouse. I honestly can't remember the last time I went to a steakhouse and had a steak because it's so easy to simply get a steak and cook it up in your cast iron pan. And what's more, of course, you can make it the way you want to make it. So, yeah, sometimes if I'm feeling cheap, I will get a cheap steak, like a chuck steak, for instance. Sometimes when I want to splurge or celebrate or something, then I get something fancier like a ribeye. And even with prices going up these days, where for like say a 1 pound ribeye, you might pay anywhere from $12 to $20 for it. But on the other hand, you know what you would pay for that same steak at a steakhouse? So yeah, I will definitely cook my own steak in cast iron pretty much for the rest of my life. R. Hughes, I have a new idea chicken fryer. Nice chicken fryer and lid. I thought it came from my Irish grandmother, but my mother recently informed me it was my American grandmother. So it probably is American. Yes, exactly. And well, I hope that helps, R. Hughes. Currently, the opinion of the cast iron community, which, yeah, we all know how expert that is. Currently, the opinion of the cast iron community is that the new idea series was, in fact, produced in Chicago. Maybe by Chicago Hardware Foundry, maybe by a different Chicago country, but yeah, it's definitely made in the USA, and it dates to about the Art Deco period of like maybe the 1920s to the 1930s. It's a really nice pan though. And yeah, if I ever come across the skillet or the chicken fryer for that new idea at a decent price, I'll be sorely tempted to get it. Reverse sear is the move. I just picked up some dry aged ribeyes from my local butcher and knocked them out in my CHF hammered 8. Nice, Mr. Majors. And yeah, reverse searing is a lot of fun, that's for sure. And yeah, it has some excellent results. I have not had a perfect 100% success rate with the reverse sear, but it really does a great job, especially when you're cooking really, really expensive cuts of meat. This is why I have whined and complained before about cooking a rib roast or a prime rib roast. I am not a fan of the method that says roast it at 500 degrees for 5 minutes a pound. Then you know what? You turn off your oven and leave it like that for 2 hours. And you do not open the oven for anything, and you'll have a perfect ribeye steak, except for when you don't. Now, there are people out there who swear by this method. They say it absolutely works every single time. I've been following this guy who calls himself Meat Dad on TikTok, for instance. He mentions that every other day, to which I say, congratulations, you've got yourself a nice, reliable oven. Good. Then you could go ahead and continue doing that. Not everybody's oven is reliable. Your oven thermostat could have been damaged maybe when one of your kids burned something badly in it, or it could simply be failing, or you could be in, quite frankly, a low income apartment, the kind where they give you this crappy stove where the door won't even stay on the oven right. So for things like that, yeah, no, the 500, no, the 2 hours method for a ribeye is not going to work, and that's why I am a very big fan of using the reverse sear if you're going to do something really, really special and expensive. All right, I'm still Debbie. I'm still happy about my roaster and Zetas. I was so lucky to find that. Well, yeah, congratulations on that, Debbie. Mr. Majors agreed. Starting hot like that will result in an okay cook, but it also ends up with a bullseye effect, where the outer 1 to 2 inches is well done and the center is near raw. Yes, exactly. So take your probe thermometer, stick it in the center of your rib roast, and then slowly cook it. We're talking like maybe 225 or 250 degrees until it reaches the right temperature. And the right temperature is what you want to be the right temperature. For me, it's 123 degrees. Then, of course, you take it out, let it rest, and you could either heat your oven up to 500 degrees or put the pan on the stove and get it ripping hot, and then you can sear the outer side and get a good crust on it. And there we go. You've got yourself a perfect rib roast, or just a roast beef for that matter. Louis J, my oven isn't calibrated correctly and it's off about 20 to 30 degrees. So I use a thermometer to check temperature. Yes, exactly. And that's the other thing why I'm a big fan of cooking to temperature. Cooking thermometers are not expensive, and it's well worth the investment, because when you've got, even like, say, a cheaper cooking thermometer that costs you maybe $15, for instance, it's going to get you at least a few years worth of use out of that. And in that time, there are so many things you can make with it. Your Thanksgiving and Christmas turkeys, that rib, that roast beef, that rib roast, that prime rib roast. And again, you could cook a perfect chicken with that anytime too. So definitely. Oh, and what's more, you can also use it as a candy thermometer. So if you're the person you're type of person who likes making candy, fudge or whatever. I mean, a candy thermometer, an old-fashioned glass candy thermometer, is a nice thing to have, but a digital thermometer will work perfectly too. Celine 77, I've done a modified reverse here in the air fryer. So 250 to 350 minutes, heat the air fryer to 500, then put the steak back in for 1 to 2 minutes on each side. Okay, if it works, great. And hey, why not make a video of it? I mean, just so that we can all see it and enjoy it. Why not? So what do? I burnt a whole roast to a char. Oh, my condolences, Cynthia. So, Louis J, place your steak on a baking sheet with a wire rack and bake to desired temperature. Then heat your cast iron pan and sear 1 minute on each side. Yeah, there you go. It really is as simple as that. So, and what's more, when he's saying wire rack, we're talking about a cheapo wire rack that you could get at Big Lots or a dollar store. You don't need anything fancy for that. So there's no big deal at all. After so long, Louis, my oven beeps a few times and shuts off. Do I call in somebody? Well, check the manual, I guess. His porky pot, the poiky, you mean? The inspiration for a pot of gold picture. Really? Well, I'm glad to hear that, handsome Stony. Yeah, you're talking about the poiky here. That's right. Yeah, because I know we already gone over how this thing looks like it's spelled podgy, but in South Africa they call it poiky. And so that's why I call it a poiki pot. And yeah, it's especially so popular because it looks so much like a cast iron cauldron, like an old fashioned cauldron. And it does look really cool too. I will agree there. And that's why I'm glad to have had it. Wow. Oh man. I got it in 2012. 12 years now. So yeah, I have gotten a ton of use out of this Poiki pot and I love it. It's one of those ones that I overpaid for too, but I've gotten so much use out of it that I don't regret it. Mr. Mayers, what Louis said. Also, I salt my steaks and bring them up to temperature on the counter before cooking. Well, no, I still keep my steaks in the fridge. I have convinced myself, and even though people argue over this, I've convinced myself that if you start slow cooking your steak at a low temperature, it will take longer for it to reach the desired temperature, and you'll have less chance of overshooting. That's my opinion anyway. What I like to do now with a steak is I take it, yeah, like you said, I put it on first I put it on a rack. I give the both sides of it a generous coating of kosher salt and black pepper, and then I put it in the fridge anywhere from a few hours to 24 hours or so. I really haven't done my dry brine or dry age on a steak for more than 24 hours in my case. I've seen some videos, whoever that worth, suggesting that if you go over 24 hours with your dry brine on the steak, you'll still get a good steak, but apparently 24 hours seems to be about the best. But anyway, I do that to dry out the steak. And then, well, there you go. Take my pan. Usually, my Finex skillet is my go-to steak pan. Oh, here's an excuse to show up another piece. This is my go-to steak pan, the Finex cast iron skillet, because this thing is thick and heavy, and I find thick and heavy seems to produce the best sear on my steaks. But at least that's just me. Anyway, yeah, then you just get it ripping hot, ugh, and you put it in, and you keep track of the temperature and pull it the moment that thermometer reaches the temperature that you want. At least that's for me. Or you could do it the slow method way and do the reverse sear. Okay, I'll do the top works fine. I hate the stove. I love a gas one. Yeah. Debbie, I'm spoiling myself. I'm having a Dr. Pepper. It's been a long time. I usually don't drink soda pop. Well, why not? I mean, if you feel like you deserve it, yeah. Did you order Ace Maduro? Did you order the Dragon Skillet? No, I couldn't find any way to do so. I'm not a Costco member. I don't think there's a Costco anywhere here in the Binghamton area. I've never seen it. I never saw one in Massachusetts. I've never been into a Costco, so I'm not a Costco member. I looked on the Costco Taiwan site for that Year of the Dragon Lodge cast iron skillet, which looks really nice. And I saw there is a cart there where you could actually order it, but you need a Costco membership to do it. So no, I did not order that. But yeah, I posted a short video about that, folks. Yeah, and you can only get it from Taiwan. It seems like the Year of the Dragon Lodge cast iron skillet. And yes, even though it's only made and sold in Asia, no, it's not made in Asia. It's sold in Asia. It's made in the USA. It's a genuine Lodge cast iron skillet. Why don't they sell it in the USA then? Because my best guess is in Asia, they commissioned it. They paid Lodge for it, and so Lodge shipped it over there. It's just business. So, all right. You've never had a chicken bake? Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. If you've never baked a chicken in cast iron, you've got to bake a chicken in cast iron. There's so many great ways to bake chicken in cast iron. I've done several of them. I love doing my 500-degree Dutch oven chicken. I love doing my cast iron chicken, where you take your chicken pieces and press them between two blazing hot cast iron skillets. I love my Dutch oven chicken and rice, where I do a roast chicken and rice at the same time. So yeah, all of those are really good. Um, Okay. Let me see. I'm spoiling myself. No, we said that part already. Thank God for my little oven, or I'd be lost. Yes. Chicken bake is a Costco thing. Okay. Well, like I said, I've never been inside a Costco's. I honestly don't know what the chicken bake is. I've heard about Costco's famous, what are they? $1.50 hot dogs and their famous $5 rotisserie chicken. I've never been in a Costco, so I haven't seen them myself. I've also never been in an IKEA. A couple of times I've passed by IKEA. There's one about 2 hours from me in the area of Albany, New York. And I've just passed by it and I've never been there. Okay. I know IKEA is supposed to have these Swedish meatballs, but yeah, Swedish meatballs are not enough just to get me to go into IKEA. Okay. It's been a long time since I've had a soda pop. We drink water, tea, or coffee. Chickens are on steroids now. I can't fit an 8 piece in my chicken fryer skillets. Yes, they are, Corey Clark, and that's one reason why I like them because you get good big pieces of chicken. Rocky Caver, we have a toaster oven that can fit a 14-inch pizza. Good grief, that must be some toaster oven. Wow. And yeah, that sounds like the perfect pizza maker, too. That roast was the color of a car tire. Oh, ouch. I'm sorry to hear that. Nothing around my area. Yeah. IKEA has some great fish and chips at their cafeterias. Well, and Louis, I love Aldi. I've been in Aldi a few times. I've gotten a few cast iron pieces from Aldi. At this moment, sitting by my stove is a tiny little 1/2 pint cast iron Dutch oven, and I'm using that especially to hold my Crisco that I use especially for seasoning my pans. I don't like those Swedish meatballs. Maybe in lamb form, but not in IKEA form. Yeah. I love Pepsi and A&W root beer, but my wife gave me a hard time, so I don't have them very often before. I'm not a member of Costco, but I took my brother to Aldi today. They have better prices than Costco. Well, it's different for everybody. There's no question about that. So, all right. Let's see. They need to make a Bigfoot skillet. Yeah, that would be interesting. Are you talking about Bigfoot the truck or Bigfoot the legend? Hey, hey, they've got a Yeti skillet. Does that count? Brum, Okay, 300 to 350 degrees in the oven and offset smoker. That's a, yeah, yeah. Using cast iron in a smoker is one of the best ways to do it too. At least so I've seen. So my brother worked at A&W back in the day and hand mixed the root beer. Nice, nice racks. Thank you very much, MK Plico. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, I admit it. I'm out here especially to show off my big sexy rack. I will say that. Yeah. And I certainly hope people like it. Okay. I've got my stove oven, Debbie. I've got my stove oven and then a convection oven. I use them both, but I like the convection oven a bit better. It's been a while. I had past tense a convection oven that my mom gave me, but it ended up dying, unfortunately. Um, All right, getting on with this, I guess. I mean, as I said, we're here to talk about cast iron, so why not? Latest acquisitions include, well, I splurged again about a week or so ago, and I ended up getting, no, was it a month ago? Holy cow, time is flying. Because it was the same time that I got the large heart skillet that I also got a large camp oven lid. And I really got that pretty much as an alternative to fit on my skillets and my Dutch ovens. So yeah, because I like the way I like their shape. So yeah, using a camp oven lid. And for the record, again, remember the large camp ovens. This is based on diameter, not on a skillet size. A number 10 camp oven lid will fit on a number 8 cast iron pan because they're both about 10 inches in size. It will not fit a number 10 skillet. I love the season in mine. It's a beast. I'm in the process. We had a blizzard and I got the flu when I was supposed to. Well, I guess that's a good thing. Well, it's never a good thing to get the flu. That's certainly true. There are a few A&Ws here and there in Michigan. There's an A&W right here in the Binghamton area. I have yet to go to it. I pass by it regularly on the highway, but I haven't gone there. Maybe I should stop by and just look one of these days. Did you show your BSNR camp oven? I don't have a BSNR camp oven. What I do have is the BSNR camp skillet, the spider skillet, which I do indeed have. So yes, here again is the BSR spider skillet, which actually is probably like from the 1970s or 1980s. It's about 100 years younger. Am I seeing this right? No, I think there's just a scratch on the seasoning. For a second, it actually looked like there might be a crack in this, but thinking it's I'm thinking maybe not. Okay, but anyway, as I said, this thing is actually 100 years younger than you might find it for at any antique mall. All right. You can use that lid as a griddle. Yes, you can, but it takes some practice. Last year, I actually did use a big 15-inch camp oven lid as a griddle to make pancakes, and I did a poor job of it. The fact that this lid was concave really made it more difficult for me to do those pancakes. So it would definitely take more practice before I can do that. As it stands, though, on the other hand, I will gladly use a skillet like good old Stumpy for making pancakes. I hate spotting one of those previous unnoticed cracks. Oh yeah, it's our Hughes. That always is not something that I look forward to. In fact, let me bring one up. I'm pretty sure I talked about this one before. This was a remarkable find, a yard sale find. Here is a Griswold number 8 skillet lid, large logo. And I found this one at a yard sale for, I think it was $4. Excuse me. And of course, I jumped on it. Except that on very, very close examination, I think there is a crack in the lid. Look at the letters between skillet cover. Right next to the T, it looks like a crack. And furthermore, is it the T? Yeah. It looks like a crack next to this T in skillet cover. And furthermore, when I turn it over on the inside, all along where it says Erie, Pennsylvania, USA, if you look carefully, I would say again, it looks like a crack. So I know for $4 for a Griswold lid, well, what can I say? And besides, it's some folks have argued that cracked lids are different from cracked skillets, and you can still use them because there's a less chance of them, well, breaking apart. So I don't know. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with this skillet, with this lid. I'll figure it out one of these days. Okay, I'll put this aside for now. All right. You shouldn't have jumped on it now, Corey Clark. Yes, I get the joke. Griswold lids are selling for $250 to $300. Yes, they are. And that's because of the vultures that we've already talked about. The speculators. So the ones who haunt estate sales, and the moment the estate sales open up, they immediately snatch up anything with the hot name. Whatever it is, it's a Griswold. Whatever it is, it's a Wagner. We will grab that right away, and other people don't have a chance to get them. You East Coasters, it's nearly impossible to find treasures like that out in the wild. I'm about as far as you can get from any of the notable foundries. Well, you never know. There are still cases out there, even on the West Coast, where it is still possible to score cast iron. But I do agree that it does take a lot of patience. Do you have any griddles? Yes, I do, in fact. I've had it right over here somewhere. Here it is. This, in fact, I found only last year, and I got it for $20. This is actually very old, straight logo, Wagner, Sydney, number 9 griddle. And I found this at my favorite flea market outside the Binghamton area, and it was on sale for 20 bucks. So, yeah, that was one of those things I just had to grab up. So, yeah, I definitely am glad to have this little griddle here. And yes, I have also used it because, well, of course, you make great pancakes in this. Also, tortillas. So yeah, that was lucky. I mean, regarding scores like that, I will say again, I will be the first to agree that luck has a lot to do with it. I don't have any kind of a magical skill or anything like that for finding bargains like that. My best skill is patience. That's really about the best I can say. Well, patience and a little knowledge. A little knowledge will go a long way. All right, I have two old lids with small cracks. Don't worry about it, and I just use it. Yeah, brandy maple. Why not? Terry Sinchef, I have an aluminum Griswold lid like that says patent pending. Do you know what year it could be? I'm afraid I am not one of those experts on Griswold, especially the aluminum ones. But you know what? You could go onto Google patents. Google has a patent archive going all the way back at least to the 1800s. So if you type in Griswold cast iron, you will find Griswold patents there on Google. So maybe that'll help. Griswold aluminum, perhaps? $20 is a score. Yes, exactly. Get a pan to go with it. What do you mean with that griddle? Um, well, I already have a number 9 chicken fryer, a Wagner unmarked no less. Thrift stores in California, Oregon, and Washington are amazing, totally different from the rest of the country. Louis J. I feel the same, Mr. Majors. I'm jealous of the East Coasters. Not much here in the West, just Lodge and BSR. Nothing wrong, but I would like to see Martin or Favorite. Drop me a pin, Randy Maple. Well, maybe, Randy, you might get lucky with Mr. Majors tonight, perhaps. Regarding a trade, that is. Please, no rude jokes, folks. Okay, even less out here. Well, what can we say? It's March. We are just beginning to get towards spring, and that means the yard sales are going to start opening up, and the outdoor flea markets are going to start opening up again. And well, we may very well see more. The hunt will be on once again, and that means it's time for us to go out hunting again. In fact, I mean, you can't. Well, some of us can't forget. For instance, we are getting down to only a little more than a month and a half until the National Cornbread Festival, which means it's time once again for that trek to South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, to have some fun looking at Lodge cast iron. Maybe I might actually, well, I don't know. Maybe someone there might actually score that Lodge hammered souvenir skillet that they are selling for the Lodge Cast Iron Museum. Heading to Brimfield, I am considering it. I'm in New York now, of course, and it would be more of an event to go to Brimfield because I would have to leave on a Friday night, get a hotel or motel, and then I'd be able to spend Saturday doing it. So it's a bit more of an expense now. But I am indeed considering it because Brimfield was fantastic. Brimfield is fantastic, and I little doubt it would be worth the trip. I've got to restore. Anthony, at least we don't need a hunting license. Well, there is that. Yet. You never know. Let's be optimistic because, I mean, right now, of course, we're in a cast iron renaissance, and and who knows how long this is going to last. Although this does not appear to be a bubble. This is not like NFTs. This is not like Bitcoin. Because you've got something solid and dependable and genuinely rare too. They're not artificially creating rare pants. Well, saying that, all of those new collectors cast iron being produced by Lodge, who knows? No, I'm not going to say that. I don't think I'm saying that. Lodge is definitely producing pans for the collector's market. I mean, there's absolutely no question about that. Not when they produce things like the American seal skillet and all that for Cracker Barrel. I mean, really, about the only advantage of this over a regular large number eight modern day skillet is the fact that it has this nice fancy logo on the bottom, a very attractive logo. And it is possible that that some of these will be collector's items in the near or even the far future. I've already commented how some of them might end up being collector's items for one reason or another. Like, for instance, ah, the Walking Liberty skillet. I'm thinking this one's going to become a collector's item largely because it was made for Cracker Barrel. It's sold out and has not yet been reproduced. And boy, is this thing beautiful. This may very well be, I think, one of the most attractive designs on a cast iron pan that Lodge has made so far. And that I do think is indeed driving up the price for this. And this one may very well be a collector's item. Maybe more so than uh, uh, maybe more of a collector's item than the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, which is a nice souvenir skillet from Cracker Barrel. And if you're like me and you have a Massachusetts heritage, you may find it appealing. But do you think this thing is going to end up in 10 or 15 years commanding a price of like maybe $100 or $150? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe just because it's this kind of a design. That Walking Liberty skillet could very well be 100, $150 maybe, like maybe 10 years from now, unless they reproduce it or mass produce it. Is the collector's market is fickle, but anybody who tries to sell the collector's market, I think we all know that already. So, which is why I don't go out of my way to collect cast iron. I did indeed get these collector's pieces because I liked their look. Yeah, I admit that. I fell victim to temptation yet again. I mean, why the hell do I need 15 number 8 10-inch cast iron skillets? But that's why they call it cast ironitis. But on the other hand, for a person who just wants to use a cast iron skillet, you can, of course, just use that $20 number 8, that 10-inch Lodge from Walmart. Or if somebody gives you one of these pans as a present, then hey, there you go. You've got a real heirloom that'll last you the rest of your life. So, well, thank you very much, Debbie. There are people whose collections put mine to shame. I'm probably going to be calling it in a few minutes or so, largely because, well, as you know, I do have to recover my legs. So, I probably shouldn't take too much longer, actually, but nonetheless. Um, okay, please give us a brine update on the St. Patrick's Day meat. I have not opened it yet since last week. So, but I'm gonna find out. I'm sure I should probably take a look at it very soon to make sure. I'm not worried about that at all. Even if I didn't completely cover all of the meat, I'm not worried about it. I have no doubt that it's going to be. We're going to have some great corned beef this St. Patrick's Day. Hmm. Lodge knows people love those special designs. People will go out of their way to pick one up, like me. Yeah, like those Yellowstone skillets have all been selling out, for instance, largely because of that popular TV series. And as I've mentioned before, patriotic cast iron seems to really go crazy with this crowd. I mean, that's why Lodge is going to be produced. I have no doubt Lodge is going to be producing that made in America skillet forever. I don't think it'll ever be a real collector's item, but it's definitely something that's going to be a regular seller. There's almost no question about that. So, hey, don't forget to make Brian Lagerstrom's 30-minute chili recipe. I'm going to do that next week. I actually have a note that next week is going to be chili night. But yeah, especially for that reason. I mean, I'm definitely I love chili as much as anybody. And hey, if that means if I can produce what might be a superior chili within the space of this live video, I'm all for it. So next week is going to be chili night, and we will see how it all turns out. Randy Maple. I use my number 8, number 9, number 10, and my griddle the most. Yay! Chili in the lamb mold. Probably not, because I'm going to be making a lot more chili than will fit in the lamb mold. Love Brian Lagerstrom. Yeah, exactly. I've been following Brian Lagerstrom since his early days, and yeah, he is definitely one of those down to earth people whose recipes I really like making. I've made several of his recipes, including his 1 hour pizza recipe, and now he's got a 1 hour cast iron pan pizza recipe, and I'm definitely giving that one a thumbs up. Look it up if you haven't. Brian Lagerstrom on YouTube. 1 hour pan pizza, tailor made for cast iron, tailor made if you have kids. All right. Favorite line from the third movie of the Trolls? Are you a narc? Shit. Can't wait to see the chili. Neither can I. We'll see what's going to happen next week, and it's definitely going to be an adventure. So, oh well, I'm glad you like the butter chicken. Yeah, I based the butter chicken on that viral video, the one with like about 45 million views. And yeah, I thought it turned out pretty good. It looks like literally, it looks like a pile of doo doo. It looks like it. There's no way around it, but it sure tastes darn good. Okay. And this house is not chili unless it has corn in it. Well, in that case, Electrobuzz, put some corn in it. That's the thing about recipes, whether they're on YouTube or in a cookbook or the like. Here is where I follow the rule from the pirate captain in Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, the one he says, I they're not really rules. I prefer to think of them as guidelines, meaning that if you want to cater it to your taste, go ahead and do it. That's another reason why I like pineapple pizza. I like uh, pretty much any of these variations on pizza. I like chili with beans. I like Chicago pan pizza, and I like cornbread with sugar because what's most important more than anything else is the taste because you're the one eating it. So what if it may not be official? So what if you're not making a genuine Naples Neapolitan margarita pizza, the kind that you have to have zero flour, double zero flour, and you can only use little pieces of mozzarella, a little bit of tomato sauce, and fresh basil leaves. Those are delicious. I like them. I also like all the thousand other kinds of pizza. Okay, Glenn and Friends Cooking always says that a recipe is just a guideline. Yes, exactly. If it's in my mouth, it's official. Definitely. I'm not from Texas, so I put beans in my chili. Yeah, there we go. What were the special food deals at the Asian Indian market? Well, for one, I got huge, and I mean huge containers of spices. I mean, we're talking like a pound of turmeric, a pound of ginger powder, um, fresh garam masala mix. And when I made the butter chicken, you saw it was the actual pieces, the seeds and stems and leaves and everything like that, and I ground them up right there to make fresh garam masala. That's one of the good things about the Asian market. I also find I get a good deal on raw peanuts and raw cashews at that place as well. Um, Not to mention nice prices on ginger. Oh, and also on those biscuit cookies, which I find are delicious. So yeah, those are some of the things I like at that Indian market. Okay. I like Glenn and Friends to Glenn and Grens to Rocket Caber. We like oyster crackers in our chili, and why not? As I said, have what you want because you're the one eating it. I'm thinking that's probably about where we're gonna go this time, folks. Because, like I said, I really probably shouldn't have been standing up on my knee for the last hour and 20 minutes or so. In that my knee feels maybe a little bit sore, not the kind where I'm screaming in pain or anything like that, but I definitely it's time for bed. And anyway, and so I'll just recover and we will do better. And thank you very much, Clico. And we will see you all next live, definitely. Yes. So thank you so much, everybody. Yes, exactly. Have a good night to everybody. To Randy Duffy and to Bigster 223 and Cynthia Wesley and Clico and yeah, next week we're gonna do chili. And I think as well, maybe by this weekend, I'm gonna try to find some time to do another one of those videos like I did the other day, where I actually went live on my web browser and looked on eBay. Because I'm thinking I'm going to do a live video with theme topics where I might look for cast iron bunt pans and then maybe look for rip-offs and see what we can find, because it'll be fun. Okay, but good night as well to Handsome Stone, and yeah, have some Advil. That's a good idea, and I'm glad you liked your cookies. And Corey Clark, and Cynthia Wesley, 4M Morris family, Rick Stumbow, and Mercy B, and Electra Buzz. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for showing up here. Because yeah, I mean, as I said, I love these conversations, and yeah, largely, it's all because of you folks here. You are the ones who make these things a lot of fun, and that's why I love doing it. So thank you once again and have a good evening, everybody. Please enjoy yourselves, enjoy your cooking, and once again, see you next Wednesday. I'm glad that you enjoyed this.